is the power of nitro. You can actually see the buttons are missing. This thing is locked up. The skirt is even caved in. You can see where it blew by and just plastered all the aluminum on the side of the rod. This is just a testament to how good a parts that we have in this thing. I know it doesn't look like it right now, but we had an event with the piston and it lost ring seal, so it just started burning the piston away. When it does that, it just loses ring seal, and then all that blower pressure and nitro is just running down the side of the piston. But the next rotation on this thing was coming out of the block. So if you don't feel like you won the lottery after seeing something like this come out of the motor and the motor still is okay and you're able to run it another run, you think you need to change your luck, because you do have good luck. And like I said, this is one rotation away from coming outside the block, taking the blower off of it, ruining the intake manifold, the whole 9 yards. So got really lucky, ran a 72 on that run at 318, but this was done at 1.6 seconds, if that tells you. So basically it's running on 7.5 cylinders, you know, and still went 72. So we're very fortunate. We got a good hot rod, we got good pieces, and thank the good Lord for good luck like this. Now we're just measuring the bearings. This is how we tune it up. We measure the bearings. So it's 62 when it's new. Right now this one is actually just under 61. So this one didn't work that hard, even though the motor looks like it worked hard, but it actually didn't on this particular one. So, but what happened was with this piston, when it got like this, it contaminated the oil. So a lot of that stuff runs through the oil. This one didn't work that hard.
You guys ready?
Yes, sir.
Now we had about 8 hours. We tested earlier in the morning, and that went real well, except for that number 4 piston, which we think it just had a piston lip off. And so we actually, you know, took the time and cleaned the motor out and everything, but you know what? I think it's going to give us some problems. Anyway, the guys are putting the gaskets on it. We're getting ready to start this thing up. Now it's about 7 o'clock at night, and we run in about an hour, and I'll just let you watch this start up. Now, on one of the other videos, somebody had asked, like, hey Rob, why don't you squirt it in the top? Well, I squirt it in the bottom and the air bleed down at the bottom of the blower. That way so I don't have to open the throttle blades to put it in there. And it just seems like it works a little better that way. Now we have several checks that we're doing while we're warming this thing up. Guys are looking for leaks. Guys are looking for anything unusual. And you see here, my bottom end guy has noticed something with the oil pressure. He gets the attention of Tuna. Tuna takes a look at it, and it's about 30-40 pounds less than what it normally is. Now it still has 80-90 pounds of oil pressure, so I'm okay with that. But I've got my eyes on it. I don't want this to get too low. The first thing that comes to mind is we didn't get the motor cleaned out that well. And what's happened is some of this swarf has got into the check valve on the oil pump. So we're going to go ahead and do our normal procedure to seat the clutch. And everything there works good. So we're going to shut this thing off. We're going to take a look at it. So right away, we're going to have my bottom end guy get the diaper and everything off this thing, get the oil pump off of it. That way we can make sure that that's what's going on with this engine. Now, we still have 45 minutes left or so before we need to be up there. So we're going to check it out real good. So I've already pulled out the plunger assembly but the bottom of the piston is actually stuck in there, and it doesn't take much swarf to get in there to do it. So I'm just trying to see if it's scarred up or not. In the meantime, we're going to load up another pump on this car.
Blow the oil pressure line out? Something got gooped up in there?
Yeah, I mean, it's something here. I mean, I need to get that sleeve out. I think that sleeve comes out there. That's the piston. I think it's stuck. You know what I'm saying?
Everything looks pretty good with it, other than the piston stuck in it. So it's sitting there bypassing oil. Well, we've confirmed what we think is wrong with this. We just got to ship this thing with a new oil pump on it and see what happens.
And that thing moves back and forth, and that's what makes the pressure. But I think it's stuck. What's wrong? There's one of the pins.
Well, it's time for the first qualifier. We've got just crazy good conditions. Fired up. She's got oil pressure, but it's not as high as normal. Let's do a burnout and see if it gets any better. Sounds like a great plan, right? As it's backing up, Sean's also looking at the oil pressure right now, and I don't think he's too happy. I take a look on the inside, I can see it's already down to 60 pounds of oil pressure. We'd normally be at 130 at this point. There's only one thing to do. Send it? No. $100,000. This is the first time we've shut this thing off on the starting line in a whole year. This is the first time. And I don't think anybody is real happy right now. Listen in closely for my explanation.
It had a fix, but anyway, we had a motor that kind of scorched a piston in it, right? And we should have changed the motor. That's what we should have done. We changed the filter, we cleaned out the valley, did all that kind of stuff. And what happens on these oil pumps, it gets it has a relief check. And the relief check got a little bit of something in it, right? So the pump I took off, I looked at it, yep, it's stuck. Put the other pump on, well, guess what? You got it too. So, we had a double issue, but it was self-inflicted. And I can guarantee this, it's testing, although it's a big race, right? It's testing, but we learn from those mistakes and we move on. Come on, man.
Oh, I was thinking that too.
Anyway, so what happened was we put another oil pump on it. It did the same thing to the new pump that we put on. It was a mistake on my part. I should have just changed motors and been over it. That way we could have thoroughly cleaned it and got that thing on down the road. But I didn't do it. We learned by our mistakes. Now it's Q2, our second qualifier, and we're not in the show. But you know what? I'm not scared. I know how good this team is. I know how good this car is. We need to get this puppy down the track, though. But sometimes when you're weak, it's not a good thing. So I'm going to run it like we're in the show at the number one qualifying position. I race the track most of the time, but this time I'm going to let her eat. Now we're also the first car out on the track, so there hasn't been any dragsters or funny cars running in front of us, so the track is green on the starting line. Now they've rotated, did all this stuff and got it prepped right, but not necessarily is it a good spot to be in. You kind of like to leave in someone else's track. But the track looks really good. They've been doing an excellent job with it all weekend, so let's just see what she does. 372 at 328. That's not too bad. I think that put us in the number 5 spot. And that's during the day. So that was a great run. You know, we changed motors. This team just did a great job. Hey, check this out. Cletus McFarland, A.K. Garrett Mitchell. Like, there he is, like right there. And then I was too scared to go over there and say, hey, buddy, how's it going? Because I feel like people do that all the time to him anyway, but I was too nervous. But I really wanted to meet the guy. Anyway, here we are. Now we're at Q3. What's just happened in front of us is Antron Brown blew a tire and almost crashed the car. We had to wait in the water box for about 45 minutes or so. But I'm sure it's on Sean's mind a little bit. I mean, he just watched his buddy, you know, blow a tire at 330 miles an hour, grind this thing to a stop. In that amount of time, the track got better. Now, I did some things to the clutch, and I sped some flows up and did all that, but I really didn't have enough in the bell housing to make a really good run. So we're just going to send it down through there because we just didn't have the time to do what we needed to do. .374 at 329. So when I say we kind of showed up to a gunfight with a butter knife is I just didn't have enough clutch coming at this thing for the power it was making.
Rob and the crew put everything back together. My wife's first time coming to the track, first national event like this without fuel. Because of Rob's videos on YouTube, she got interested in it and loves watching it when it comes to him live.
It's amazing.
So we're here.
Amazing. Thank you.
Now how cool is that? These people drove all the way out just to come see us race from a YouTube video. I mean, that's pretty darn cool. Anyways, the fourth qualifier, it's the last chance to step on this thing. I mean, everybody's throwing down. It's our turn to do it. I just hope I've got everything lined out and we don't go out there and shake the tires or something stupid, but I feel like we got a pretty good handle on it. Let's see what this thing will do. .371 at only 317. This thing put a hole out at about 700 foot. And when I say, babe, putting a hole out, it just had a cylinder that just quit working. And who knows what reason, if the clutch came at it too fast or not enough or whatever. But anyway, it was on 7 cylinders for the last 300 feet. This is what it did to the tires. This is something that we're kind of fighting right now with these tires. But sometimes it's maybe from over track prep. Sometimes it's from maybe a little bit too much downforce. But this is Antron's car that they crashed.
One, two,
See, we're only 2 teams here, but we got 3 cars out, and
One for every screen.
it's not a good thing. But
one run.
that tire had 1 run on it, and now, you know, $1,600 later,
like that.
they're junk. But that's Antron's tire there that came apart. Pretty sure that it ran over something on the track, so nothing to do with the tire. guess who we got to run? We got to run our teammate first round. So here we are. Saturday, first round. Now we both throw down at each other. There's no team orders, none of that kind of crap. We both throw down on each other. I'm going to take the more conservative route. I want to think that Brian Karate wanted to as well, but I don't think it worked out that way. Together, but Antron's got the tires loose at 300 foot. It's a win. It's a 378 at 326. Like I said, it was a little conservative, but we got the win. Now, fast forward to E2. We've got Brittany Force. We didn't walk our way through this, that's for sure. And two of my old crew guys were over on that team. So, if we could get past this round, I'm not going to say it's not going to be a great feeling. It's going to be pretty awesome, actually. But whatever, we got to get past her. David Grubnick, JC over there. See what we can do here. Now, usually Brittany's over there, and they take about 20 more seconds than anyone else out on the circuit. But I think this year, they've kind of cleaned their act up a little bit. And so, we're getting back here at about the same time. If this had been last year, she'd just be finishing her burnout at this point. Now, if you watch this, I kind of told Sean to go ahead and go in. Sean waits for a little while because he sees that she's not in yet. I think, wow, my driver's got some pretty good confidence. Let's do a little slow-mo. A 376 beats a 375. Sean did an excellent job driving, but man, look, we ruined another set of tires. Now, that's just from a couple of things that we could have too much downforce. So Brian Husen, the crew chief on Sean Langdon's car, came down and said, "Hey Rob, I've got these panels that will delete the mud flaps that are on the side of the car and help take some downforce off this thing." Now he's ran them, Justin Ashley ran them, and he was nice enough to come down and say, "Hey man, why don't you guys try it? We're going to run Josh Hart in the final." And they had 2 sets of these, so he gave a set to Josh Hart as well. So we're going to delete the mud flaps off of these cars. And so we're going to take some X amount of downforce off of it to try and help these tires live a little bit. We even got old Brian Karate over here helping. So we're going to take these things off. This is going to be the first time that 2 cars will be in competition without the mud flaps. And I can't even tell you. It's not a lot of air. But old Karate comes over and he's kind of helping coach on this deal. And I think he's wanting to see a better result with our tires because of this as well. NHRA is also here at this event. We're kind of talking to them about what we're doing and things like that. They really don't have a say at this event, but we're just trying to, keep these guys informed as well. still mounting these side panels on the side of the car. You can see we're using hammers, we're using tape, we're doing whatever it takes to get these things on here and get these mud flaps up. So my co-crew chief is Ryan Elliott, and let me tell you what, this guy is very talented. One thing about it is he's done a lot of body stuff in his history of being at Coletta's and other teams. As a matter of fact, when I first hired him, I hired him as the body guy for Johnny Gray's car, but he ended up being my assistant crew chief on that car by the time we were done. So that's why he's over on this car with me now. So we're just discussing about what we need to do to make sure that these side panels are going to be held on in the same fashion as the mud flaps that were going to be on there that we're deleting off. The guys wanted to put a fresh belt on for the final. I thought that was pretty weak. The other one had 7 runs on it and it was going to be fine. We don't even know how much we're racing for. Somebody said it's a lot, but we don't have any idea. Anyway, let's do a warm up on this puppy.
I got it. Okay, we're going field it.
Guess what? She's got oil pressure. We check the timing on it. Readjust the phasing. You can see next door, Macco guys have already put the car away, the awning. Now we're starting to get a crowd around this thing. We've got a lot of great people here wishing us all good luck in the final. Now Josh Hart, he ran better than us in the last round. He went 72, we went 76. Got my work cut out for me. But I've got a lot of confidence in this team. Well, here's a fun fact. I had Brad Mason, the co-crew chief on Antron's car, come over because Sean was on the starting line answering some question seminar deal. I don't know what they had going on, but he wasn't there to start it. So we grabbed old Brad and threw him in there, and it was just like a seasoned veteran. He's like, well, I got this. This is no problem. That's one thing about crew chiefs that stand behind cars. They end up making pretty good drivers because they've stood behind them so many different times. It's just natural for them to hop in one of these things. We're going to readjust the clutch. And here it is, final elimination against Josh Hart. Now this is the first final that me and Sean have been in together. I don't know what it is, but everyone's confidence was pretty high coming into this. Now we've got stellar conditions again. We don't have any mud flaps on these things. We've never ran the car like that before. And we're going to run it all the way to the finish line for sure. So there's a lot of variables. We just want the tires to stay together. I want my driver to be safe. Make my last adjustments, and we're going to send him in. There's a win. A 369 at 330 miles an hour.
Good job, man. See you, girls. Good job. How you doing, brother?
What they got?
There's my best buddy, Chris. Jack Beckman. These are track specialists right here that help us read the track. You guys are doing a great job. And Tuna.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I don't know how much money it is, but I think it's a lot.
Yeah, good job.
Ever 2 Dragsters have ran with no canards.
It's 2025. It's your time to shine.
I'm just shine.
This is Brian Karate's wife. She has a lot of superstitious stuff she does. And she just showed me it's pretty awesome. These guys have worked hard over the winter and just very well deserved for these guys. So we ran a 69 to Josh versus 72. And man, it is quite a relief. But I don't think anybody sees this part of it. After the run, the car's not even with you. But this is my main guy right here, Ryan Elliott. He's my yin and the yang. And we work really well together.
Now I saved Cinderella over here for last. Sean Reed. I don't know if you knew who he was before this race, but everybody on the planet who likes a race car now is going to know who you are because you just came in a very short field. 8 cars. Last year, world champions didn't make this race. You qualified. You said, I just want to qualify. I want to come prove that we did. You did more than qualify, sir. You are holding the Cold Hard Art, shout out Tom Patsis trophy. How incredibly special this must feel for you and your team.
Yeah, you know what? I'm kind of numb a little bit right now. I don't want to cry up here in front of everybody, so I won't, but...
Cry.
Yeah. You know, I just walked up to Ron. I mean, I'm like starstruck. I said, Ron, I'm going to remember this moment forever. And he, but, you know, I mean, Flo, you know, all the racers that put this on, Racers for Racers, and you know, this has just been awesome. To be invited here was one thing, and you know, we came with another brand new car, and you know, tested fine, and to go through the field like we did with all these people I've been watching and looking at for so many years is it's pretty special to me. I enjoy racing against all of them. I enjoy knowing all of them, and man, I'm looking forward to this season and seeing what we can do. And you fans over here, I'll tell you what, you Florida fans are pretty dang cool, man. They've been pretty good to me, and I really appreciate y'all.
Guys, this is special. His first win over here in the Top Fuel Dragster coming in front of you. You saw history. I want to thank all of you. You just said how special this moment is. This is a full circle moment for me as well. What a dream come true. I want to thank every one of you for spending your time and money out here. It is time to party. Andy, it is your time again. Let's go. Everybody lift their American Rebel light and give these guys a round of applause. Let's go.
And I can't thank my 2 best friends enough, Brian Karate and Chris Newton. Without these 2, I'm telling you, they have made my career triple fold. And my beautiful wife, Ray Malin, who's doing most of this camera work, and she has got my back no matter what. I am just one blessed man. But at this moment right now, you can kind of see me sitting back, watching my guys. And like I've said on a couple, talk show things that I've done, podcasts, it's kind of like Heartbreak Ridge with Clint Eastwood after they overtook the hill and he watches all of his guys celebrate. That's what it feels like to me. And to see this man showered in champagne and this crew standing tall with his trophy was a very proud moment for me. I hope so. We want to be a threat, that's for sure. We hate showing up and being all right, we got Sean Reed. We hate being that guy. We like the guys who show up and go, oh, Sean Reed. That's what we like to see.
Right, exactly. And this whole deal that came together, I just got word from Sean. He's trying to log in from a desktop. The the worst way to do it. He should just use his phone. Everybody just use they're designed for this kind of stuff. They've got better cameras. They've got better microphones. Why would you use a desktop, right? For anything really.
But he's old school. He's old school. So that's why, see, he thinks that the desktop is where it's at.
It's not. Let's talk about what Antron said yesterday in the press conference. I don't know if you know, but Antron was very spicy in the NHRA press conference. I'm sure everybody will be seeing some stories about it in the coming hours. But he had some very interesting things to say. But one of the things he said was that he's not a talker, he's a doer, and that Sean Reed is in many ways his protege. And Sean said something to him last year like, I gotta get better on my lights. I gotta build a simulator. And Antron's like, you gotta go use mine right now. Go do it now. And then Antron is kind of like helping Sean with the driving. And we clearly saw it the second half of last year. What's your take?
Well, there's a couple of things that we did and that not a whole lot of people know about. I'm just going to go ahead and expose it right here.
Expose it.
Yeah. So Sean was complaining all weekend that his helmet wasn't working, but secretly we put a device in it so he can hear the relays in the tree go off before the actual lights go on. So that helps a lot. And then we took a 9-volt battery and then we hooked it up to his left testicle. And when it hits that relay, sees that sound, it energizes the left testicle. And then all of a sudden, bam, his right foot goes down. Just like that. That's how we fix lights on him.
And that is the kind of stuff you learn about here on WFO Radio. Click the bell, subscribe. You're never going to hear that kind of insight about NHRA drag racing anywhere else. Do you think that'll work for me? Because like is that something you can market, sell?
Well, what you can do right now, Joe, is pinch your left testicle right now and see what your right foot does.
Okay.
Maybe it's your left. I don't know. Some people are wired differently. But mostly we've seen the best luck out of the left testicle.
Suddenly I think you're serious. Like this is not
I just want to see you pinch it.
Well, that's not going to happen on the camera, but it might happen every now and again. So it is psychological though. A lot of this reaction time stuff.
You know what? I think it just given my driver confidence with a car, that's a lot of it. We gained a lot of that last year on the back half of the season once we figured out some stuff and the car got faster and faster. And then the pressure, what happens then is the pressure is on the driver to perform because you can have a 60s car, but you got to have a 50s, 60s driver to go with it. You can't have a 60s car and a 90 driver, an 80 driver, and expect to win because the competition is so tough. So now it puts the pressure on the driver. What happens then is the driver's thinking about it. The driver's like, oh, crap, now it's on me. I got to cut a good light. And then the lights aren't so good. But I think as it goes along, as you get more runs and things like that, the confidence starts oozing out everywhere. The driver, the car, the crew, everything else. And so I think that's where you're starting to see this team blossom quite a bit is that we feel like, we've got a good hot rod. We've got a pretty good handle on it. We're nickel and diming it, trying to get all the goodie out of it. And that gives Sean a lot of confidence as a driver. Now I got to show up,
Well, I love hearing you say things that, and Sean's down there. He's getting ready. We're going to bring him on as soon as he's settled. That I theorized myself, like as I build confidence with my own analysis, like you can buy all the best stuff and then suddenly it's on you. And it's like, oh man, it's on me. Like it's on you. And, but it's great to see Sean kind of emerge. Second half of last year, he was a little irritated at moments like it's on me. But he rose to the occasion. Let's bring him on. He joins us now, Sean Reed. After that, it's a win of some sort, Sean. Congratulations.
Hey, I managed to get on this thing, so that is a win. All right.
Yeah. I was talking about you.
I'm so proud of you.
Braden, your driver's proud, Sean.
Yeah, man. I was like talking to Allie, and I'm like, man, women can do this, and I can't even do this. I'm like, what does he know that I don't know?
Let's not go backwards. Let's not go backwards. So, Rob was just telling us a little bit about, I'm not even going to go there. You missed that part. You'll have to go back and watch. It was something.